Hey guys, how you doing? It's me, Maria, and
Caleb.
Caleb. We're here just to do our paragraph 6. I feel like, what's her name? Tina Spalding on A Course in Miracles with my little paragraph book here. Again, it's just losing my religion, but it's not about religion. It's just about beliefs and systems and things that you adhere to almost as law to you or something that you live by. And a lot of times those beliefs are things that you need to shed and let go of and that you've outgrown in order to express your true self, to expand in who you are and to connect to who you really are. So Caleb's joining me on all my paragraphs too, because it's nice to have a younger male perspective on the subject. So I'm not even sure what the paragraph says, so paragraph says, and then we just talk for a second, and hopefully we get some learning or get something that helps us to tune in and fine-tune our alignment to our own heart, our own treasure chest, in order to produce and create a life that is a true reflection of who we really are. So paragraph 6 says, a lot of life is actually dying. It is dying from who we thought we were and dying from what we thought we believed and how we defined ourselves. We must shed a lot of what we are because it's really not who we are. A lot of what we were taught aren't really even our own thoughts. They are actually thoughts we adopted from others. They are thoughts and beliefs imposed on us by others, beginning right down to when we were babies. In this process, to self-discovery, we must cut off the junk we gathered in life that are not our own in order to become in alignment to who we are. I do not mean to disrespect what we have learned and what we've been taught up to this point. It served its purpose. I believe we, at some higher level, chose the road we travel in order to facilitate self-discovery, which is the same as discovering God. Trust that all aids us into self-discovery. We're always changing, evolving, growing, creating. Decisions, thoughts, and focus determine our tomorrow, which is really our today. There are no regrets in the process of self-discovery. It all serves in the process. To live in regret would be to live in distrust of God or life itself. So I'll just give you my take first. My take is that, just like Mother Earth reflects is just a reflection and a mirror of everything we go through. She goes through her seasons. She goes through her processes. There's constant dying and renewal. Animals shed fur. Snakes shed skin. As they grow, they let go of the skin they once wore to create a more comfortable skin. And that's the same with us. We have definitely been born into family and beliefs prior to our life in order to cultivate what we're going to go through in this life. It doesn't mean we always hold it and it's always our truth. It's a stimulus in a lot of times in order to put us on a path of self-discovery and to put forth our purpose, our soul's mission, why we came. And as we grow, our skin needs to grow. Just like spring, it grows, and then there's kind of a resting and basking in the sun. Then there's fall, and there's a harvest. There's a harvest for the leaves to fall. They serve their purpose, and they kind of go in a rest period in the winter, but they come forth with new life. And that's what it is when we let go of things that we held so tight to. And a lot of those things are on automatic. They're on autopilot. And part of the self-discovery, knowing truly what's in our treasure chest, hey Melinda, and who we are, is to take a step back and say, well, why do I do this? If something is not feeling good, examine it. If something feels confining and heavy, then examine it. Because truth should be expansive. It should feel free. It should feel light. Not that everything we go through in life is going to be hee hee ha ha and always feel good, because there are moments of sadness, there are moments of tribulations and trials and challenges that we overcome. But in those circumstances, a lot of times we know we're going through it for a higher purpose. I'm talking about beliefs or even things or habits we do because we think we need to. It can be something as simple as you've done the same workout for 10 years. You've walked that same route in town for 10 years. And it's just kind of monotonous.
Mundane. How much are you actually growing from it at that point?
It's not even, it doesn't even have to be like these huge life-changing beliefs. It can be something little, something as little as what you ate for breakfast, the type of coffee you drink. All of those, everything is vibration and energy, and everything has an impact. Everything is either like helping you or you're just kind of remaining stagnant. You want to grow and expand and discover the light of who you are. And you know, if you try this new flavor of coffee or drink and it excites you and you're like, this is so yummy, that might seem like something so little it doesn't matter. But listen, if it brings you joy and happiness and your taste buds are like jumping for joy, that has a big impact, even a domino effect on the rest of your day. So it's just the little things like that even.
Yeah, so when you find balance, I think ultimately when you find balance, finding balance is to find the balance between constant death and rebirth, because it's you want to live a life just like the forest, like Mother Nature. If you walk into the forest, you don't even notice the constant dead leaves, the fallen trees, but if you actually take a step back and notice all that, which is also imbalanced equally with the new life that is forming and growing, that's ultimately how we should live our life, by dying to our old self, shedding old skin, and constantly being reborn. And to die to old selves is to transcend old paradigms, thoughts, belief systems, and until those are transcended or killed or balanced out, we can't actually be reborn. That's why they say a lot of times in religion, they say, oh, I found myself, I've been reborn, because they find a religion in a new way, and then they leave behind what they once believed, and they're reborn, but they still then get stuck in that monotonous cycle, and then they stop being reborn, and they stop dying, because to live is to die is to live. There's no day without night, there's no night without day. So you go back to that balance, and you ultimately do want to continually balance life and death, and transcending old paradigms. And when you stop transcending old paradigms, ultimately you're no longer growing, you're no longer expanding. And we can only grow and expand when we die. So when you step out of your comfort zone, an old part of you died, and then you grow and expand. Your old highs become your new lows.
I'm thinking your old highs become your new lows. Yeah, they've served the lifespan that they were supposed to. And I just want to make one point when you're talking about a newborn Christian.
Or a newborn anyone that finds a new religion or their new self.
I just want to say they don't necessarily might get into a rut and mundane. They might have connected to something that helps them to keep growing. But the key is to keep growing, keep expanding, and that's just what life is. If God is synonymous with life, life is about growth. Life is about expansion. And our lives in reality, they never, ever, 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 ever end. We're an eternal, expanding consciousness, reflection, fractal of God's source energy. And to make the most of this physical life here, you do want to live with awareness and consciousness, and pay attention to those heavy feelings or constricting things or relationships or jobs or food or clothes, all of it.
And people that when you're reborn into a religion, let's say you're reborn into a religion which is a new, very new and very strong perspective, because it anchors you into the conscious now, maybe, which is ultimately all that we are. But when you become anchored within a cycle, are you continuing to grow and express and transcend those paradigms when you're being taught to believe that this is the way and the truth, when actually the truth is to continually break old cycles and continue to grow and expand? Because if you're not doing that, you're really not doing anything, because humans are the only creatures and forms of life on this planet that don't continue to grow with all that they are and all that they can be.
Yeah, but I believe that some people might have come into this life not to be all expansive. Maybe they just wanted to experience just a nice, quiet, steadful life. It doesn't mean it's wrong. As long as they're making the conscious decision that that is what they want and it does feel good to them, that's okay. That's okay, because we have all come to experience, I think, the physical for different reasons.
I completely disagree, because if you're consciously choosing not to expand, your subconscious is holding you in with reasons why you're not expanding, why you're not stepping out of your comfort zone, because you're falling victim to subconscious old ways that want to keep you safe, rather than consciously stepping out and expanding. Because anybody that has the power and feels empowered and confident to step into something new, and it doesn't matter how big or small, they're expanding and they're growing. And if you're not expanding and growing, you're ultimately not aligned with that higher frequency and self and reason for incarnation.
Yeah, but isn't there such thing as all decisions, all life forms, everything is valid? So they might have came in as a contract and saying, hey, I'm going to just try this life out and learn from it and see from it. They can just be gaining information.
If you're not growing, expanding, you're not in the flow of things. And when water's not in the flow, it becomes a dirty, stagnant little pond where cancer grows, diseases grow, sickness formulates. And ultimately, when you stop growing and expanding, that will be a reflection, sickness and cancer, and then you'll die.
Okay, so what do you say to someone like Melinda? She says, I'm sick of the roller coaster.
Well, the roller coaster's exactly that. You need to enjoy the ride home. The roller coaster is a fun ride home. Some people are afraid of the ride home. Some people enjoy the ride home.
Okay, and your
Some people are afraid of roller coasters. Some are excited with it. Roller coasters, you hit highs, and then those highs become new lows. And as long as you continue to go like this, up, you're always going to have a little dip, but the dips get smaller and quicker because you quickly learn and transcend them with conscious awareness that, oh, okay, now I'm going to grow and evolve even quicker and even quicker. So, and then eventually the goal is to have kind of a linear or exponential awakening and growth, but the goal is the dips get smaller and smaller. But you got to enjoy the drops, because the dips are peaks. Upside down.
Okay, so I understand that. But aren't you being a little judgmental on the person through your perception of what growth is? Because they can be having a different kind of growth. Their growth may not be realized until after the experience. I still disagree. I believe there is something to be gained in anything. And I think your perception is judging the growth of the person. Because if they're content, they're happy, they're joyous, and not everyone is just born to explode. I know you disagree still? You disagree that would be invalid and that there's not growth taken on a level of what maybe your limited perception is of their growth?
I don't think I have a limited point of perception. Any level of expression is expansion. I'm talking about if they're no longer stepping into new territories to grow and expand. Because someone that wants to stay safe and in their little cage, in their little stagnant, dirty pond, is not actually growing.
The difference is, are they happy about it? That's the key, Caleb. Are they happy? Now, someone stuck in their cage who complains and has all this negative energy and says, this sucks, life sucks. Why does life have to keep giving me this crap? And so they're not taking responsibility for being in the cage. They're not choosing to step out of the cage or make decisions to fly free.
So you tell me, are they actually happy, or is their spirit broken and they gave in to their circumstances?
No, I believe that some birds might just be happy in the cage.
Or have they been programmed so much that they give up on their spirit and their spirit's been broken?
It could be
and
either
that
way.
They need to be re-empowered and awakened.
Only they know. This is just kind of food for thought. I mean, only they know.
Or are we ultimately born all like free lions, and then we get trained and indoctrinated into something that we're not? And you find anybody that is like that. You ask them, are you happy? Most people are not going to say that they're happy. They stop and question themselves, even when they have the money and the house and all the elusive, successful, projected accomplishments. They're still not happy. So,
Oh, I totally agree with that. And that's a different batch of people. I totally agree with that. And to live by what they see on the outside world.
So now you're telling me that so tell me, if somebody is in a stagnant pond without
no,
absent flow, are they happy?
They have, I think, a flow at a deeper level of just contentment. Maybe they were kings in another life and they said, hey, I just want to experience a life where it's quiet. and I don't have all this excitement going on. I just want to enjoy a nice, quiet, level, stable life. But what determines if that is stagnant or not is their inner feeling. You don't know what their inner feeling is. Yeah, exactly. So that's all I'm saying. We can't judge, and we can't say that if you're not growing and you're not moving and you're not shedding,
if you're
then
not
you're stagnant
or
and you're
expressing
dying.
in some shape or manner. If you're not expressing, to not express is not to grow, to not evolve, and we're all here to grow and evolve and express ourselves. So if you're not doing some sort of self-expression or something that allows you to grow, you're not going to be happy. And if you're not happy, you're not doing the collective or yourself any benefit.
Okay, yeah,
with
so
the lower vibration.
You're missing the point here. I'm saying that person is happy, but to you as a perceiver, it might seem stagnant, but they're happy. And we're creatively expressing when we wash the dishes, when we clean our house, when we go pick up the mail, when you grow a garden. That is creative expression. It doesn't have to be in this huge way. Like someone who is enjoying doing the dishes and they got their little way and they're enjoying it, that is their specific creative expression in that activity. So creative expression is everything. It's anything you do in life, not just like speaking or teaching or writing or it's anything. Even the way you ride a bike, like you know how you ride a bike in and out and swerve and do little jumps? That's all, and you're really fun and it's fun for you. That's a creative expression. Yeah. You're creatively expressing.
As long as you're happy.
As long as you're happy. So that is the point of paragraph 6. Are you happy? This is just food for thought, guys. And that's why I like to get his perspective, and somebody else might pick up on one or I's perspective, and just bantering back and forth helps to expand the thought. So my point is, if you're not happy, check your beliefs. If you feel guilty, that's just a tool to tell you that, hey, there's something within you you're believing that you're not in alignment to. Ideally, if you're in alignment to truth, God source energy, the heart of who you are, it is going to feel good. It is going to bring peace. It is going to bring fulfillment, and you are going to feel alive and expansive. Even in those challenges in life, it just motivates you more. So I'm not saying nothing is ever going to come your way that you don't have to work through, but you're going to feel good about working through it. You're going to feel good about putting the energy forth. It's all about energy kind of moving forward, and not like being held in a little cage and being sad and just looking at all the bad things in life, because the bad things in life and everything you see in life is a direct reflection of the energy that we are believing or living. That's all I'm saying.
And all I'm saying is true happiness comes from within, and being and waking up to the truth of our actual being and our incarnated existence. And how can you get to that truth and happiness within without shedding layers and expanding and opening up the flow of all the chakras that we actually are?
And I don't disagree with that at all. And when you said shedding the layers, a lot of people will equate it to peeling the onion. But when you peel the onion, you're like crying and crying. And I like to think and find the sweetness in every layer, like how it served you, and release it in joy. Like I always refer to it as how many licks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop, because every lick is good, it's sweet. You don't need it anymore. You've absorbed everything you need from that belief, everything you need from that situation. You've integrated it, you've taken it, and then when you get to the center of the Tootsie Pop, you can just think of that as, oh, you're finally there in your true essence, and then that true point of alignment to your heart. It just makes the journey more enjoyable. Not that tears are bad, because tears are necessary too, but I'm sure you guys get my point.
You can't be fooled either by the peaks and the valleys. It's all kind of just bullshit, ultimately.
What do you mean?
Some people don't like to hear that, because just because I sit here more, maybe less expressive than my mother here, people may say, oh, she seems more happy, but actually happiness and sadness are one and the same. And if you want to avoid that roller coaster, you need to get comfortable at that level of bedrock. And the bedrock is that never-ending present awareness that we are. So you got to give back the happiness, and you got to give back the sadness, and sit back and realize that you are just pure conscious awareness. And then you'll ultimately find that happiness within, because if you're constantly seeking highs, you're going to always get the lows. It's just how it works. So to sit actually back and be expressionless does not mean someone's not happy. They may actually be happier than anybody that's laughing and expressing and rolling on the floor laughing, because happiness comes from within. And when you wake up to the internalization of where everything ultimately comes from, you can then understand the outcome for happiness and sadness and the emotional roller coaster. Because people that lead large armies, kings, great leaders, they seem expressionless, but it's because they sit and they rest at the bedrock of what we are, which is that balanced love light awareness.
So you just took it full circle when I made that demonstration of someone just living in a quiet solitude life. You just went full circle and you just said no one can judge you for your stability or expressionlessness, so you can't judge that person's life or circumstance from your eye, saying, oh, they're not growing. They've lived in that same house for 30 years doing the same thing. They can't be very happy. So
I did not say that. If they've reached a level of yogi awakening and you're at that level of Buddhism or that internalized state of knowing that everything's within and you can sit in that peace and love of the God state that you are, the never-ending, infinite, absolute love and light, then you have reached full empowerment and awakening, and you don't need anything externalized, including your own body, emotions, and thoughts. But unless they've really reached that spot, I believe they got comfortable in a cage, but that's only for them to know.
Exactly, that's only for them to know. But you just also made a point that being just in that no body, in that state, and knowing you're none of that, but doesn't that take the experience of being in the physical form kind of away? Does it kind of diminish that? Because yeah, I can say, oh, I know I'm really a spirit. I'm observing my life, but I would like to feel it and enjoy it. They say when spirits pass, one of the things that they miss is the feeling, is the taste of food, is the touch of the human body. So
they also say when you reach that transcended level that you won't choose to actually go back, because you feel the full, you feel a different level and a different frequency, and you're not going to choose to go to a lower frequency. But during that incarnated 3D state, yes, they say, yeah, I enjoyed that. So it's like saying back when you were at a younger stage in your life, saying, that is what I enjoyed most. But would I go back? No, I would not.
Okay, so what do you say about people that are galactic seeds, star seeds, and they've come here and they've been at a high frequency and they came to experience the dense earth. So you can say they did go back and experience a lower frequency, so that's not valid, because they came here for the experience, that very experience, to transcend density, to forget who they were, in order just to have the journey to rediscover who they are, just for the fun, just for the game.
How long can you continue to chase highs? When will you be fully satisfied chasing what is externalized? When will you reach it? When will you catch that dragon? When will you reach the gold at the end of the rainbow?
Are you asking me, or the galactic being that's come into the deck?
I'm asking you.
I don't think I'm chasing or
anybody, not just
yeah, I don't think it's about chasing anything. I think it's just for the pure joy of the experience. It's just for the joy of the experience, and there's nothing wrong with that, because all in reality there is just experience. It's just experience. You can't say that you haven't enjoyed your big highs and your big lows. You still enjoy it.
But ultimately, to live is to suffer. To live is to suffer, because it is an incarnated illusion and projection. And until we actually find our self, which is that home base before the projection, you will never feel fully satisfied or fulfilled. But there's also there's lots of variations of this depending on your soul contract and your journey for this incarnation. And that's that. And you have to respect everybody's level and where they're at, and that's the first law of creation, which is free will. So
yeah, but didn't you just say that yogi, when you're in that master yogi state, there's no suffering? So and yet you said they were living at their highest potential. So to live, do you really need to suffer?
To live is to suffer. Unless you can drop entirely into the absolute infinite creator, which is, they say, like a full body orgasm at free will, essentially. And that's why we have orgasms, is to spark us to find our journey home into the self.
All right.
And then ultimately being able to consciously leave your body and go into different realities and different creations as you will. Not to be the programmed self, because are you yourself? Is Caleb aware of the awareness, or is my awareness aware of Caleb? Are you aware of your awareness, or is your awareness aware of you? So which one are you?
Well, obviously, if you can even speak in those terms, your awareness is aware of you.
Yeah, and most people aren't even aware of themselves, let alone aware of their awareness, and let alone even being aware of presence. So there's levels to this shit.
Well, there's always a level.
There's infinite levels. When you wake up, it's an exponential growth.
And there's no end. So, hallelujah, praise the Lord. It's a fun journey, eternal.
Until you hit infinity, which is just what...
Well,
in order for infinity to exist, you have to wake up to the infinite loop, which is that level of yogi, essentially.
All right. Well, that was interesting.
So there's waking up to presence, which is the now, and there's waking up to being aware of presence, being the only thing in the now. And then there's waking up to being the witnesser of the awarer, which is being aware of that which is aware. So are you anything that you thought you were aware of, or are you just the pure conscious awareness that is aware of the person that's aware in every single moment?
Well,
it's a really crazy...
I tend not to even, if I'm happy, be happy.
And that's all that matters. So
and that's all happens. So
back to the level of free will.
I think as a physical being, you don't need to get into such, unless you want to, and that's your joy and that's your excitement, is if you're just happy and enjoying life, that is your direct line of communication to God, and that's all you really need.
And you always have to just take what resonates with you, leave the rest, and just make it your own to help you along this journey. There's ultimately, no judgment, because there should be no judgment, because there is no ultimately right or wrong, because we're that pure awareness before right or wrong, before actions, before thoughts, before emotions, before saying what's happy and what's not happy, before saying what's attractive, what's not attractive. Before the labels and identifications, you are. Before you are. And who are you?
Well, I just want to enjoy my physical vessel and get the most out of it. To take it back to just the I, being aware of the I. I don't need to go so deep, because then you kind of lose. It's good to know that. I always know I'm watching myself. I know there's the higher me, but you know what? I'm here to enjoy it, feel it, and live it. And breaking down the walls to release what's inside, that's what it's about. Just releasing the stuff that you've outgrown and shed, and just taking yourself to that new level and connecting to your heart at another higher frequency.
Exactly.
In order to
There's lots of
life.
levels. You got to find what resonates, where you're at, and then just constantly be open to learning new things to help yourself evolve and grow more. Otherwise, you're staying stagnant.
Yeah, you made a good point. Just remain open. Just be open. Don't judge and close doors on anything. Just be open. Doesn't have to resonate. Don't need to accept it. Allow it to flow. Allow everything just to be. And in that, you can decide what resonates and what doesn't. What feels free and what doesn't feel free.
So the 360 exists for a reason, and people get stuck on their single individual degree perceptions and perspectives. But every new perspective is a good perspective, because it allows you to grow and open up. And people that are stuck in religions or in the cage aren't allowing new perspectives to flow. And when you
that can be the case. It can be the case. I don't want to blanket that statement.
Because any new perspective is a good perspective, whether it resonates with you or not. And then when you wake up to that awareness, you realize that you are only that awareness, and that any of the perspectives is only to each their own, and that you have to let it be as it will for their own free will. Free will also includes letting people believe and see things how they want to believe and see things.
Yeah, totally. Let others see and feel and believe and live the way they want, but be responsible for yourself, your own decisions.
You can only be responsible for your own vibration, and the highest vibratory state is love. ultimately. If we're love and light, light and love, if you can find love, you're happier than you've ever been happy. If you're in love, you are happier than with your coffee. That's a different level of love, or candy, or anything. So, and the love is found within. So people externalize love in another individual and whatnot, and that's why ultimately they're so hurt and lost when that externalized love up and leaves or cannot be maintained for whatever reason. So you do have to anchor yourself within at that love level, and that is the highest vibratory state.
Which is what everything in that book is about. Anchoring into the love and discovering who you really are.
In order to get to that love, you have to shed all the subconscious beliefs and all the old skins, and you have to die your way home, essentially. You have to die and be reborn all the way home.
Yeah.
And is that book not exactly your life story, which you're not dying and being reborn to your home?
Yeah, it's
making your way home?
Yeah. My journey to my treasure chest, my heaven on earth.
So,
all right.
Thank you.
Thank you for you guys who join and those who watch later. And feel free to comment and comment your own 2 cents and thoughts.
Thanks for tuning in.
All right, guys. Love you.